Hello, this is a read aloud for week 3, Active Parenting, Parent's Guide. Beginning on page 44, Preventing Problems. Problems are a part of life. This chapter is about problems. Nobody really likes problems, but every family has them. Some problems can be prevented, and other problems need to be solved. One good thing about problems is that they can help us as we teach our children about life and living well. So this chapter is really about using problems as teaching situations in order to help your child learn how to survive and to thrive as a human being. Humans may not be the only creatures on Earth that can solve problems. Have you ever watched a squirrel raiding a squirrel-proof rated bird feeder? But we are capable of solving far more complex problems than any other animal. That is because the human brain is far more complex than anything else on Earth. Your child's beautiful brain. Your child's brain is amazing. It has billions of tiny cells made for learning how to survive and thrive. Many of these cells, which are called neurons, are already connected when a baby is born. These connections are what let her know how to do basic things. Instincts like breathing, sucking, swallowing, and pooping. She will make a lot of other connections on her own as she experiences more of life. Nature prepares a child's brain for learning by giving it far more connections than it can ever use. As the child learns and experiences things, these connections will get stronger and stronger, the ones she uses. The connection she does not use will fall away. Early childhood is the most critical period for this building up and trimming down process inside the human brain. It is when a child is most capable of learning. So to help your child build a good, strong brain, it's important that we provide learning opportunities and positive experiences during the first few years of a child's life. It is even better when learning opportunities and positive experiences happen together at once, so the brain connects learning with pleasure. Positive experiences with her parents and other caregivers actually help to build up babies' brains. Let's look at how a child's brain develops. It helps us to think of it as having 3 parts, developing from the bottom up. And we can use our hand as a model brain. The center, the frontal cortex is the fingers wrapping around, and the wrist and arm symbolize our original brain, the spinal cord. Sorry about my memory loss there. So we're going to talk first about the old brain, that spinal column down there by the wrist and arm. When a baby is born, the most developed area of its brain is at its base, where the brain meets the spine. This is called the old brain because it has been part of the human and other mammals for many years. It says millions of years, but since I believe in a young Earth theory, I'm going to skip the millions. I believe the Earth is only thousands of years old. The old brain controls basic functions of our human body, as we mentioned earlier. It also makes us ready to fight or to run each time we see danger. The emotional brain. I believe that's going to be the thumb, the inner central core. The emotional brain is the part of the brain that develops next. It is triggering new experiences and new emotions. In the second 6 months of life after birth, a baby will begin to feel and show emotions like fear and anger. Later on will come joy, caring, love, and bonding, to name only a few of many. The rational brain now is this frontal cortex right behind our foreheads, symbolized by the fingers wrapping around the central core brain. Rational brains help us make decisions. Emotions help us in a lot of ways, but emotions need to be controlled. So this rational front part of the brain does that. It does much more too. You can think of it like the manager of the brain. Some people call it the executive function. It helps us make good decisions. It helps us feel what others are feeling. That's called empathy. It helps us to learn from consequences. It helps us to control our emotions. And it helps us to know right from wrong, which we call morality. The rational brain will not finish developing until around the age of 25 years old. Wow. This is the last part of the brain to develop. It is important to know because the rational brain is where our best thinking goes on. If you ever get frustrated because a child is not very good at making decisions or knowing what's right and what's wrong, or any of the other higher level sorts of thinking skills, please remember, it takes a very long time for a brain to fully develop. And brain development goes along with muscle development and physical growth and stature and strength. So don't expect your child to be able to do and or understand things adults and even older children can do. It makes us all stressed and angry when we expect what is impossible. So here's this image again to review. The emotional brain is in the core. It manages, or it gives us emotions, memory, and bonding. The old brain is basic survival skills, breathing, instincts, and fight or run responses. The rational brain is the front of the forehead, problem solving, executive skills. When a child gets stressed out, the brain releases chemicals to help the body deal with that stress. For kids who have experienced abuse, neglect, abandonment, or violence, their brains are constantly producing chemicals that are helpful in small doses, but too much slows down their brain development. This is what we can call toxic stress to a child or a human. It can have a negative, lasting impact on a child, especially if it is happening during those very first years after birth. On the other hand, when parents hug or play with a young child, the brain releases other chemicals that help a child bond with you and helps them feel safe and secure. This has the opposite effect of the toxic stress. It improves brain development and strengthens bonding between a parent and a child. This does not mean that all stress is bad stress. In fact, a little stress is good. It motivates us. But without nurturing and guidance from loving parents and other caregivers, Children hardly survive, and they certainly don't thrive. Let's do a brain building activity. It's called a freeze dance. Have you ever been about to do or say something and then you stop yourself? You think for a moment and decide, it's better if I don't say or do that. This is an ability to pause and think at the foundation of good decision making. Children are not born with this ability. They're very impulsive. They have to learn and practice it. You can help them to learn it. As you know, children learn through play. Playing freeze dance with your child is a way to exercise this part of his brain that learns to pause and think before taking an action. Like a muscle, what we exercise becomes stronger. To play freeze dance, you will need a wide open space, maybe a living room that has the furniture moved aside. A music player helps, and some lively music to play. You can play it with only one child, but it's more fun with several children. The rules are quite simple. When the music is playing, move and dance. When the music stops, freeze in the position you were when it stopped. Stay frozen in position until the music begins again. Age guidelines. This activity is appropriate for approximately children ages 2 and older. Adjust the difficulty depending on the age and ability. For beginners or very young children, start by playing music for longer periods of time and only an occasional freeze, until the children get good at hopping and stopping and freezing. As they learn the game, play music for shorter periods and play shorter segments. If they do it well, start making it harder by varying the length of time and mixing up the dances and freezes.